STL.
Hey, it's Susie Moore for Window World. Did you know that in just over the last 20 years, Window World of St. Louis has improved the look and thermal efficiency for over 80,000 customers in St. Louis? Plus, Window World windows come with a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And now, Window World is offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. Call them today at 800-GET-WINDOWS for a free in-home, no-pressure estimate. That's Window World at 800-GET-WINDOWS. They're the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues.
Do you know why I endorse Cafe Napoli, all the locations? Visit any of them, and you will quickly appreciate the quality of food, service, atmosphere. So maybe I'll see you at Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Napoli Kirkwood, Napoli 2 in Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C. Or maybe you'll find me at Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in the Chesterfield Valley. Now you know why I endorse Napoli, NapoliSTL.com.
At Body of Health, we're a small but mighty family operation with big ambitions for your health. I'm Helene Tobler, and I'm jazzed about how our MRI-grade body composition analyzer is putting personalized health and wellness on steroids. It helps me and Dr. Tobler, that's my husband, refine the advice we give to help you feel better and live longer. Body of Health, trusted, discerning, affordable health care the way it ought to be. Learn more at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
When insurance companies know you're represented by Under Law, they know Under is not going to let you be pushed around. Their reputation is built on years of courtroom battles. If you suffer an injury or damage to your property, serve the insurance company notice you have Under Law on your side, a St. Louis firm you can trust to protect you at every term. Don't settle for less. You want to win? Believe me, Under wins. Under, O-N-D-R, underlaw.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Tensions are rising between the U.S. and Iran.
President Trump says Iran is taking too long to negotiate a deal, and now they will have to pay the price.
We're going to be attacking them very hard.
At the White House, the president wouldn't say if he planned to follow through on threats he made earlier in the war to attack bridges and utility plants in Iran. His message to Iran, stop delaying and sign a deal. In the Senate, Vermont Democrat Peter Welch says there isn't a plan.
We're nowhere. The president has failed on this. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. It's putting incredible pressure on our economy. There's not even negotiations going on.
Welch says the president is trying to save face. Ed Donahue, Washington.
Honda has issued a new recall for 880,000 vehicles with serious rear suspension issues.
The recall covers some 2016 to 2022 Honda Pilots, 2017 to 2023 Ridgeline, 2019 to 2023 Passport, and 2014 to 2020 Acura NDX vehicles. Honda and Acura dealers will inspect the rear subframe and install a reinforcement kit or will repair or replace the rear subframe components at no cost to vehicle owners. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
President Trump's immigration and deportation agenda is getting a nearly $70 billion boost through the end of his term. Trump signed a bill into law in the Oval Office on Wednesday, giving $38 billion to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and $26 billion to the Border Patrol. An additional $5 billion would cover unforeseen costs. A rough day on Wall Street with the Dow plunging 953 points, the Nasdaq off by 509, the S&P lower by 119. More at Town Hall.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate, like you. You take prescription meds and you're overweight. Winner, winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou, because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds too. Get a quote right now at 800-555-2085, 800-555-2085, or biglou.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Another hot one today with highs in the low to mid 90s under sunny skies and that heat index up over, in some cases, 100 degrees. So watch out for the heat, and then watch out overnight in some of our northern counties for a chance of showers and thunderstorms that could be quite strong. Then we have another hot, humid day coming up tomorrow with more storms anticipated and some strong on Thursday night. But boy, the heat will finally break on Friday. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Window World of St. Louis. For replacement windows, doors, and siding, call 800-GET-WINDOWS. That's 800-GET-WINDOWS.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for my favorite go-to store for seafood, gourmet goodness, and tons of wine. It's Stars, 1135 South Big Bend. A huge selection of seafood flown in from the coast. Lemon sole, halibut, Maryland lump crab, Gulf shrimp, and you gotta try the trout dip. Plus imported and domestic hand-cut cheeses, lots of hand-picked wines at great prices, hard-to-find gourmet foods, and fresh roasted coffee using only the best quality beans. Stars, 1135 South Big Bend, just off of Highway 40.
Got scrap metal, junk cars, or old appliances taking up space? Turn that clutter into cash. Since 1968, 21 Recycling and Scrap Metal has been the area's trusted name for recycling. We buy copper, brass, aluminum cans, scrap iron, wheels, catalytic converters, AC units, water heaters, washers, dryers, and yes, junk cars too. With our brand new truck scale on premises, getting paid is fast and easy. Old Highway 21 by Highway M or 21-recycling.com.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
I just would like to get your comments on that.
I'm so glad that you're on the radio, and I want to thank you for that.
I'll tell you why.
1019 and 94.1.
I love these people.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
My wife Becky and I recently discovered a restaurant that has quickly become one of our favorite spots to eat. I actually ate there for lunch earlier this week. I can honestly say it is one of the best dining experiences we've had in a long time. If you haven't been to Timothy's yet, you need to put it on your list. The atmosphere is warm and inviting. The service is outstanding, and it's the kind of place where you can slow down, enjoy a great meal, and have a wonderful evening. Becky absolutely loves the lobster pot pie, and I'm a big fan of the steak tip pasta. Everything we've ordered has been exceptional. Timothy's is led by executive chef Will Mabry and features contemporary American cuisine with a touch of Southern charm. From shrimp and grits to pastrami smoked lamb and incredible house-made desserts, there's something for everyone. And trust me, the carrot cake fritters are worth saving room for. And if you enjoy wine, you're going to love Timothy's extensive wine selection with more than 600 wines to choose from. Timothy's is open 7 nights a week for dinner, plus lunch and brunch. And it's also a fantastic venue for private parties, business gatherings, and special events. Visit Timothy's at 12710 Olive Boulevard in the Belle Reve Plaza in Creve Coeur, or online at Timothy's STL. And when you stop by, tell them Chris Arps sent you.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
Nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
This morning, the stage is set for a bruising general election battle in Maine, with political novice Graham Plattner capturing the Democratic nomination, aiming to unseat 5-term Republican Senator Susan Collins this fall.
She serves Donald Trump. She serves the Epstein class. She serves her corporate donors. She does not serve us, and so we will defeat Susan Collins.
The Oysterman and Marine vet has energized progressives, despite facing multiple scandals.
Well, Graham Plattner, that may all be true or most likely not true, but we know that you serve Nazis and sexual predators because that's been proven as well. Welcome to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. We are live once again, on the road again, on location at the beautiful Sugar Creek Golf Course here in northern Jefferson County. Chris Arps, myself, Joey V, packed up the wagon, and we hit the golf trail. Come out and see us this evening. We're going to be here from 4 to 6 p.m., and, Chris, we've been informed that right after we wrap up our event, Representative David Castile will be having a fundraiser event here this evening, and it's going to be a beautiful evening indeed.
Yes, and I see everyone getting everything prepared for that wonderful event after our broadcast. I got to ask you, Tim, you look a little tan, my friend. Did you play a couple of rounds before I got here?
Unfortunately, not today. We're not under office fluorescence for once. This is probably from the weekend. I did get out and I batted the little white ball around, and that's about as best as I can call my golf game these days, unfortunately, because Jeff Allen doesn't give me enough time off to practice. But I played a little bit this weekend, and I got very itchy as I was driving in here, Chris, because I have my golf clubs in my car, but I don't think we're going to have a chance to hit any. But you should come out and check out. Everyone should come out and check out Sugar Creek. Chris, it looks like it's in really great shape. The beautiful landscaping here with the hills of northern Jefferson County, absolutely spectacular. They have a brand new, newly renovated clubhouse, and we're sitting right outside our own lounge.
Exactly.
The Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, News Talk STL 19th hole here at Sugar Creek.
And we have a beautiful portrait that Todd Showalter, or not portrait, but a beautiful cartoon or character that Todd Showalter painted for us here. So, yes, this is the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show room. So come on out and see us. Speaking of the clip that we played in, yes, Graham Plattner did win last night in Maine, and it was pretty decisive, Tim. He won with 72% of the vote. The other candidate got 20% of the vote. Democrats, of course, are very nervous about Graham Plattner because he's got a lot of skeletons in his closet. And you and I have been in politics a long time, and we know that once the scandals start, they usually don't start. Tim, I got a good feeling that the Democrats have Republicans, have kind of kept their powder dry, and they've got a lot more ammunition for Mr. Graham Plattner waiting for him in the general election.
Yeah, to prove that point, Chris, I had to selectively pick and choose a clip today because I found about. You're right. As soon as the ink was dry last night on that vote count, the Republicans and pretty much any right of center commentator across the country just let it absolutely rip. We've got stuff here from Scott Jennings. We got stuff here. I saw a clip from is his name Shermichael
Singleton.
Shermichael Singleton. He went off on Graham Plattner last night. And Chris, everybody's making the same point. You Democrats say that Donald Trump is the Nazi and the authoritarian, and that Republicans are all we're the racists and we're the misogynists and all that. You actually have a candidate who literally has tattoos, literally has things imprinted on his body that you accuse other people of. It's the height of hypocrisy. He's on a sexual predator app named Kick or something. If I've got that right.
Yeah, we don't know anything about that.
We really don't. I really don't. And so this guy Plattner is actually guilty, apparently, of doing all the things that Democrats accuse other people of.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tough spot for them in these fall elections because they have harangued Republicans, including President Trump, over sexual allegations. And, we always heard the refrain from the Democrats that we must believe the woman and that all of that. But when it comes to Graham Plattner, they seem to be looking the other direction. So they've got a lot to answer for in these fall elections. I was watching MSNBC yesterday. Yes, I do watch them to try to find out what the other side is thinking. And one of the things that they are very excited about Graham Plattner, despite his background, is they feel that he appeals to the blue-collar everyman that the Democrats have lost these last election cycles. I actually heard one participant talk about his scruffy beard, and he's a lobster fisherman, and, he doesn't fit the usual mold of a politician. And they believe that that will do well for him in these elections on gaining back some of the blue-collar voters that the Democrats have lost decisively in these last few election cycles.
Yeah, so once again with Democrats, it's all appearances, it's all smoke and mirrors. Boy, scratch just a hair below the surface, and you find out how absolutely horrible this guy is. Greg Gutfeld was pointing out last night, and I know we have a clip from him too, basically that in one fell swoop through one candidate, the Democrats have killed the entire "You're a Nazi," the Me Too, and the Believe All Women movements, right? All three of them completely knocked off. They can't ever use that ever again. So, yeah, we'll see where that goes. We have a lot of other things to talk about here today as well. We've got our resident legal eagle coming up with us, Zach Smith, joining us from the Heritage Foundation. We're going to talk about a federal judge striking down Trump's $100,000 fee on the new H-1B visas, and the president asking the Supreme Court to revive the $475 million lawsuit against CNN. Lots of other legal news in the news as well. Zach will help us break all that down at 4:25. Chris, we have Chris's Corner at 4:45.
Yes, Tim, it is June, and I don't know if you know this. June is Pride Month, and that is a big month for the LGBTQXYZ community. And Chris's Corner, I've got a commentary on when Pride Month meets Family Month, and I'll tell you all about that at 4:45.
I have seen many instances of Republicans around the country calling this month something else.
Yes.
And I think you're going to touch on that at 4:45. All right, Speaker Stump Speech today, being that we are on the road here at Sugar Creek, and we've got a candidate fundraiser tonight, and we are barely 55 days away from the August 5th primary. I thought I would once again revisit the top of the ticket news. It's not going to be candidates most likely in August. In some locations of the state it will. But what is on your ballot? Big stuff on the ballot. Big stuff on the ballot at 5:07. Speaker Stump Speech. And then our partners at Jeffco Patriot Radio, Dwayne Eoff and Billy Crow, are here. Billy Crow himself will join us at 5:25. Chris, we're going to make him talk to us about data centers. He probably doesn't want to, but he will.
Exactly.
Other Jefferson County headlines. What's going on in Jefferson County these days? One of the most aggressively growing counties in our region. Billy Crow, who's the county councilman for District 2 and the co-host of Jeffco Patriot Radio with yours truly, will join us to talk about all of those Jeffco issues here in the county of Jefferson.
And I have made it no secret that Becky and I plan on moving out here to Jefferson County, probably sooner or later now, since we talked to Mitch Baden, and he said interest rates will not be going down to the 2 and 3 level anytime soon. So I'm out here in my future home, Jefferson County. I love it out here. It is beautiful. Come down and see us here at Sugar Creek Golf Course and in High Ridge, and enjoy the beauty of Jeffco.
And we will have our final segment and discuss what are we going to get into at 5:45.
Yeah, I've got big soccer and baseball news to talk about. A little out of the ordinary, but we'll have some baseball and soccer news. Of course, the World Cup starts soon here in the United States and in Mexico, and I think in Canada too. They're going to have some games, so we'll discuss that and baseball, big baseball news. We recently talked about the congressional baseball game.
Yes. I think that's tonight.
Give you a hint. Yes, it is tonight. We'll discuss that a little bit. The Republicans have been on quite a winning streak lately.
St. Louis Cardinals, Chris, they had hit a little bit of a dip a week or two ago. They're back in second place in the National League Central Division. The Brewers are hot this year, 41-24. Cardinals are on their heels, 4.5 games out, 36-28. That is an impressive record in mid-June that pretty much no preseason prognosticators predicted the Cardinals will be in that position. The team was supposed to be in a massive rebuilding year, but all these young guns apparently are gelling well together. And something fun to do here in St. Louis this summer. Keep track of our St. Louis Cardinals here in the Heartland.
Yeah, I've been to about 4 or 5 games this year, and I've been very excited and a little surprised by how well the team is doing. They are a young bunch, but they play hard, and they pulled out a lot of close wins with a lot of home runs at the end of the game or hits to bring in the winning run. So they're an exciting team. I don't know if they have enough this year to go to the playoffs, but they are definitely worth going out to the ballpark to see. It's been sad these last few seasons to see the crowd in a Cardinals baseball game, and it's very sparse. And, we're not used to that here in St. Louis.
Yep. We had COVID. Then we had several years where the team was, frankly, not very good. You combine that with the accelerated heightened crime downtown, which is starting to shift the other way. But all of that really got kind of soaked into people's consciousness. And they just, who wants to go downtown, spend a ton of money, watch a crappy product, and maybe get mugged on the way back to your car.
Exactly.
So, Chris, it's going to take a while to get people to convince them to head back. But I'm happy to see that the Cardinals have turned the corner. And you know what's interesting? The National League Central, which is usually not the most competitive division in baseball, is this year. It's actually the only competitive division in the National League right now. The Braves are 9 games ahead in the National League East, and the ever incredible Dodgers are 8.5 games ahead in the National League West.
Oh, and your payroll's $500 million. I mean, you're actually buying like George Steinbrenner used to do in the 70s and 80s. You know, he's buying all of the talent.
Yeah. So the National League Central is the only current competitive division. The Cardinals are only 4.5 games behind the Brewers, and then the Pirates are 4 games behind them. So that seems to be the division to be watching, at least as far as the National League goes. American League East is very competitive, and so is the Central, and so is the West. So the American League, much more competitive right now as we approach the halfway mark. I guess the All-Star game is around the corner.
July, I think.
Soon. Yep, indeed. All right.
Little state news before we go to break. State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick released a dire warning today saying that the government's finances are in trouble, that Governor Kehoe is going to have to use his veto pen. He's saying that we're going to have to use $1.6 billion of the surplus. And this is not the first time that he has given warnings about the state's finances. Tim, this may surprise you, but the state is spending too much money.
Yeah, what a shocker. We've only been saying that for many years. And you know who said that many times on our program when we were in Jefferson City this year? Representative Darren Chappell, who knows the budget better than anybody, I think, currently in the legislature. He's got 30 years of budget experience. That's what he did for his career. He ran a bunch of cities when he was a city manager. And he's been sounding this alarm for a long time. They did cut $4 billion out of the budget. But you know what Darren told me? He said, Tim, that's just kind of scratching the itch. We're going to have to do a lot more than that. And so I don't think he is surprised. Maybe we'll have him on in the next week or two to kind of give us a deeper dive into this. But I was disturbed to hear Fitzpatrick's news today, but not terribly surprised.
Yeah, we've talked about it many times here on the show that the state budget has ballooned massively since the COVID years, and all of that government money is drying up, and we've got to find some places to cut, which is always a tough thing to do because everybody wants their pet project, their pet program to stay within the budget, and everyone will cry and kick and scream when their particular project's being cut. But for the fiscal health of the state, got to find some cuts because the state of Missouri has to have a balanced budget. That's within the Constitution.
Indeed. Chris and I and producer Joey V, we are live on location at Sugar Creek Golf Course, a beautiful tract of land in northern Jefferson County. We're in the overly opulent clubhouse here, the newly renovated clubhouse. Beautiful clubhouse, beautiful views of the course. Chris, the 19th hole is open. We are staring. We are staring at the bar, and if someone was really nice, they might bring us maybe like a Makers and Ginger or something. Or I'm just saying, I'm just throwing that out there. What do you like?
I'd probably have a drink at about 5:55.
5:45.
Yeah, I think I may wait till the end.
Well, you run the last segment, so I'll take mine at
there you go.
5:45. Chris will have his at 5:55.
Yeah. Jeff probably wouldn't appreciate me slurring my words during the show.
And bring Joey V an avocado.
Yeah,
Yes,
and some
indeed.
on tofu.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, it is 4:21 in the PM. Our resident legal eagle, Zach Smith, will be speaking with us next about all these top legal headlines of the day. Come out and see us at Sugar Creek and stay for the Representative David Castile Fundy afterwards. We'll be here taking pictures, kissing babies, and signing autographs on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Another hot one today with highs in the low to mid 90s under sunny skies and that heat index up over, in some cases, 100 degrees. So watch out for the heat, and then watch out overnight in some of our northern counties for a chance of showers and thunderstorms that could be quite strong. Then we have another hot, humid day coming up tomorrow with more storms anticipated and some strong on Thursday night. But boy, the heat will finally break on Friday. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Hey everyone, it's Todd Showalter with my buddy Joey V. Be sure to join me and Joey for the Right Mind Show, where we put the fun in our dysfunctional world. Saturdays at 5, right here at 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
And this is Chris Arps telling you about one of my favorite places to have my dental work done. That's at the Dental Work. They're there in Baldwin. They are owned by Dr. Link and his son, Alan. And Dr. Link has been practicing well over 40 years. His son has been practicing probably about 20 years. And it's just a great place to go and get your teeth done, especially if you have the procedure that I had done there, which are dental implants. Dental implants, of course, are one of those type of implants where you're not chewing on acrylic teeth, that you're actually chewing on teeth that can withstand eating corn and cob and steak and all of that. So I really, really love my dental implants. I know if you're worried or you're scared about that, don't be. Dr. Link and his staff will take care of you. Dr. Link, you've heard him here on the station many, many times. Just a very friendly, affable gentleman. He'll take care of you like he took care of me. So check them out at thedentallink.com. They're at 14335 Manchester Road there in Baldwin. Their website is dentallink.com, thedentallink.com. Tell them that Chris Arps told you to come down and see them.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint, formulated to outsmart the elements. Rain or shine, sleet or snow, mold or mildew. Our home exterior coatings intelligently designed to stand up to Mother Nature. Call 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Hey, it's Vic. If you have a tree that you think is dead, you can get Roots Plus to remove it for you. Or if you think the tree is savable, or if Roots Plus thinks it's savable, they can save your tree and you keep your cash. Call them and find out what that's all about at 314-440-3662. The crews are great. They get things done. They removed the tree for me, and they did expert work, and I definitely will put my name on their company. So save the tree with Roots Plus LLC. RootsPlusLLC.com.
I'm in my late 60s. My husband died a few years ago. He did all of our taxes. I sold a piece of property last year, and I forgot to claim the proceeds of the sale. Next thing I know, I got a letter from the IRS telling me that I owe over $50,000. Now I have a huge tax problem. I don't have that kind of money. I wish I knew who to call.
If you sold property in the last calendar year or didn't claim all of your part-time or even retirement income, you could be in big trouble with the IRS. Call first before they send you a letter. If you've already got a letter, call. We'll help you file years of past tax returns and save you time and money. So call the tax doctor. The call is confidential and free.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
A federal judge has blocked a policy from the Trump administration that added a $100,000 fee to H-1B visa applications. The visas allow U.S. companies to hire highly skilled foreign workers in specialized fields. President Trump introduced the fee last year, saying the program was being overused. But on Monday, a federal judge ruled that the president did not have the authority to impose the charge. The court said only Congress can create that kind of fee, and lawmakers never granted that power to the executive branch.
Oh, it's all perfectly legal.
You are out of order! You're out of order! You're out of order! The whole trial is out of order!
Zach Smith, legal fellow with the Heritage Foundation.
You know, I ask you a lot of predictions. Can you predict what the Supreme Court probably will do with this action?
And as he does every Wednesday, Zach Smith, senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Mr. Smith, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. As I don't know if you can tell, we are once again on the road. Seems like every time we talk to you, we're doing a remote somewhere. So I hope you can deal with the noise, sir.
You guys are going to have to change your theme song to On the Road Again.
Exactly.
Traveling so much.
Zach, before we get started, sir, Tim and I were doing the show yesterday in the studio, and of course we have TV monitors there, and we saw you on television. What exactly were you talking about?
Well, I'm sure that frightened everyone who saw it. You can use it to keep flies away, scare small children, I'm sure. But no, Todd Starnes was nice enough to have me on his Newsmax show. I was talking about the Carmelo Anthony verdict. You may remember this is the unfortunate situation in Texas at a track meet where Carmelo Anthony murdered another individual, Austin Metcalf, there because there was a dispute over whether Anthony should be in Metcalf's track tent, essentially. And when Metcalf and others asked Anthony to leave no fewer than 15 times, he refused and pulled a pocket knife out of his backpack and stabbed Austin Metcalf and tragically murdered him on the spot. Now, the issue in that case, Carmelo Anthony, he was trying to say it was self-defense, saying that he was fearful, that there had been shoving going on, but the jury pretty quickly rejected that self-defense theory, and then just right around 3 hours or so deliberated, came back, found him guilty of murder, and then subsequently sentenced him to 35 years in prison.
Yeah, Zach, I was a little surprised. Zach, was the verdict and the sentence both handed down yesterday? Because Zach, my familiarity, maybe Texas law is a little different. They get right to it. Is that sometimes there's a gap between jury verdict and sentencing because that's like it's bifurcated, right? It's a bifurcated trial. It's split into two parts, and there's actually like a formal hearing on sentencing, and there's witnesses and exhibits. It's almost like a second trial. But I guess don't mess with Texas.
I was about to say, it's Texas.
They got right to the sentencing phase. And what did you think about the sentence of 35 years when the range was 0 to life in prison?
Yeah, look, Texas doesn't mess around. There's no doubt about it. But to your point, Tim, the way sentencing typically works is the jury decides the issue of guilt or innocence. And then once the jury has decided that a defendant is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, it's typically up to the judge to impose the sentence. And that's where that second hearing typically comes in. The judge typically hears mitigating factors. There's typically a pre-sentence report that's written that kind of provides information about the background of the defendant, again, outlines other circumstances in his or her life that may have impacted them before they committed a crime, and gives the judge all this information to consider. This was a little bit different, and this seems to be a unique procedural aspect of Texas law. Under Texas law, apparently, so I learned with this trial, a defendant accused of certain felonies can elect for the jury to decide the sentence. And that is what Austin Metcalf did here. He elected for the jury to decide the sentence, and they came back and said 35 years. Now, the sentencing range, as I understand it, Tim, was essentially very low. I think I heard it may have been from 5 to 99 years. What is interesting here is that because Carmelo Anthony was a minor when he committed this murder, he was not eligible for the death penalty. There's Supreme Court case law, which I've written about, is problematic in some ways, but the Supreme Court case law saying that juveniles categorically cannot receive the death penalty no matter their crime. So automatically, the most he could receive was life imprisonment. And then there's subsequent Supreme Court case law that says that generally speaking, juvenile defendants also cannot receive life imprisonment without parole. And so that's why you saw that in some respects that unique sentencing range, 5 to 99 years. The 35 years is what the jury decided was appropriate. But keep in mind, the last thing I'll say is he may not serve anywhere close to that 35 years in prison because under Texas law and the laws of many other states, defendants can be released from prison much, much earlier if they are on good behavior. They can be paroled, released early for good time credits, that sort of thing as well.
Zach, one more question regarding this case. Look, it was horrible what Carmelo Anthony did, murder this young man, this defenseless young man, stabbed him in the heart to murder him.
Right.
But is it typical for someone who is relatively young, who has never had any run-in with the law, to get such a severe sentence? And also, what I know they were trying to, his defense wanted to have him charged with manslaughter or be, convicted of manslaughter, and the jury rejected that. What is the difference between first degree murder and manslaughter?
Yeah, and the formulations of this can vary a little bit from state to state. And so I'll just talk in general terms here, but typically first degree murder is premeditated intentional murder. You premeditate, you intend to take someone's life. And keep in mind, when we say premeditation, that doesn't have to involve weeks and weeks of planning, days of planning. It can be a simple decision to take a certain action with the intent to kill somebody. So the premeditation can take place very, very quickly. Manslaughter is typically an unintentional killing of someone. It's typically a much lower penalty. It's what's known as a lesser included offense in most murder cases. And so that's why you saw Carmelo Anthony's attorneys asking for the jury to consider and convict him on that lesser included charge of manslaughter, which, of course, the jury rejected. The other thing I'll just say quickly, Chris, is for the jury to only be out 3 hours on this case tends to indicate, to me at least, that the jury was not convinced in any way by the defense that Carmelo Anthony and his attorneys put on. For the length of this trial, the seriousness of this trial, the amount of evidence, testimony that was introduced, 3 hours is a relatively quick verdict for a jury to return. So it seems like there wasn't a lot of dispute that Anthony was guilty of murder.
Zach, I hope that with my next question, we don't completely lose the audience, because I think it might be a little bit of tedium that maybe you and I would be fascinated with. But Zach, I know this has
admin law, Tim. Are we talking admin law?
Federal civil rights law, Zach. How about that? Zach, and in all seriousness, though, this will affect, I believe, employers, small business owners all across the country. So I know this is a bit of an esoteric aspect of law. I used to practice a little bit in this area. I had a law partner, and she's still practicing, and this is one of her specialty areas, and I know you probably know quite a bit about it. You actually reposted a tweet about this today, or yesterday. I'm sorry, this happened yesterday. The Justice Department issued an opinion today explaining that disparate impact liability, there's a legal term, disparate impact liability under federal employment law is unconstitutional. And Zach, the fellow that you retweeted, said that this is an earthquake in federal civil rights law, and it's the foundation to overturn the entire pernicious regime, as he was referring to. So, Zach, tell us what the real world Joe and Jane American effect this is going to have.
Yeah, basically it means that businesses, individuals can't be held accountable for discriminating against people based on their race or their gender or other protected characteristics unless they intended to discriminate against those individuals. This idea of disparate impact liability is simply the idea that certain laws, certain policies may have a disparate impact, disproportionately affect individuals of certain races or different genders differently. And so simply based on what are essentially statistical differences, employers or individuals could be held liable for violating civil rights laws. Now, this opinion that was put out yesterday by the Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel, those are essentially the constitutional lawyers within the Justice Department, made clear that no, that type of liability cannot survive constitutional scrutiny, that essentially individuals should only be held liable for treating people differently based on their race, for treating people, discriminating against individuals based on their race or their gender or their religion, if they intended to do so. And so mere statistical differences, mere differences of how certain policies may apply or impact individuals, that wouldn't be enough under this theory. And I think it's important to note this has very real, important real-world consequences, because many employment discrimination lawsuits, many other forms of liability that the government has tried to impose in the past have all turned on this disparate impact theory of liability. And so the Justice Department Office of Legal Counsel put out this opinion. The EEOC, which adjudicates many employment-related discrimination disputes, they said they are on board with this interpretation. And so this is an earthquake in terms of federal civil rights laws, and I think it will do a lot to once again point us toward the goal, the ideal that we should have of a colorblind Constitution.
Speaking with Zach Smith, Senior Legal Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Zach, we started your segment with the story of how a federal judge has struck down President Trump's $100,000 fee on new H-1B visas. My research on that is that the judge decided that that's a tax, and of course, only Congress can impose taxes. Your thoughts on this, sir?
Well, I haven't looked at that decision closely, Chris, to be able to talk about it. But obviously, the last time this issue really broke into the headlines over whether something was a fee or a tax was with Obamacare, right? Chief Justice John Roberts infamously declared that the individual mandate was essentially a tax, and because it was a tax, it could the Obama administration at the time could implement it, even though Congress wouldn't have the power to force that same type of coverage through the Commerce Clause, which is what Congress was trying to do essentially. And so this distinction, it's very technical, it's very nuanced, but it can have very important real-world consequences. So I look forward to reading this decision and talking about it with you guys next week, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Speaking with Zach Smith of the Heritage Foundation. Zach, there was a lot of activity courtesy of President Donald J. Trump in dealing with the judicial system. Zach, that's probably just a day ending in Y, right? As it has been over the last 10 or 12 years. But today, a federal judge struck down that $100,000 fee. That was those gold cards, right, Zach? The gold cards, the H-1B visas. And he also asked the court to revive a $475 million CNN lawsuit. Zach, feel free to discuss either or both of those.
Yeah. So look, I'll take a step back and look at this from the 40,000-foot perspective, Tim.
Sure.
I think we've seen a lot of reports recently about federal judges behaving badly. Last week, we talked about the judge who had a misconduct complaint against her for engaging in sexual conduct in her office, where her fellow employees could overhear some of her escapades. She attended a partisan political fundraiser, and yet the judiciary only issued a private reprimand to her. The judiciary didn't even publicly acknowledge who this judge was and simply said, don't do it again, or you'll get in bigger trouble next time. Now, thankfully, several members of the House of Representatives have drafted articles of impeachment against this judge, who it's reported to be. So I don't think we've heard the last of that story, and we shouldn't. But I actually have another article coming out. So stay tuned. Look for this to come out in the next few days. There's a federal judge in Oregon that gave a commencement speech at Oregon Law. He's a Biden-appointed federal district court judge, very radical individual, and during his commencement speech, he actually touted the benefits of DEI, said practicing DEI principles are intrinsic to the rule of law and the way courts should do business. Now, think about that. The Supreme Court has said that DEI, treating people differently based on race, is not permissible, and yet you have this federal district court judge telling law students, law graduates, that it's intrinsic to the rule of law. It turns out when she started doing a little digging on this judge, it gets even worse. Later in the speech, he said that judges, lawyers, had a responsibility to stand up to rulers who abuse their power, to people who think that don't value the rule of law. They value the rule of personality. And he gave an example of what he thought that looked like. He said he stood up to that type of activity in their recent ruling where he struck down HHS's efforts to ban so-called gender transition care to minor children. Essentially, HHS is trying to stop gender mutilations for minor children, and the judge said they couldn't do that. And he said that was a great example of standing up for the rule of law. And then the last thing I'll say about this particular judge in Oregon, it turns out he also has a preferred pronoun guide for litigants appearing before him in his court. And he said that everyone appearing in front of him has to refer to by other individuals by their preferred pronouns. And think about that for a minute. That clearly violates the First Amendment to force someone to engage in certain speech which may violate their own conscience, which may violate their own religious beliefs. And so for a federal judge to have those types of policies, it's very, very troubling indeed. But whenever that article's out, I'll post it on my X feed at TZ Smith. That's at TZ Smith. And everyone can read more about that radical judge in Oregon.
Zach, we know that the court is expected to make rulings on birthright citizenship, transgender athlete participation in girls' sports. But another issue that we're expecting also is religious rights for prison inmates. Can you tell us about that case?
Yeah, so look, I think it's important to understand, Chris, there are still 23 opinions outstanding for the justices to decide. They have about 3 weeks left to do that. And so the cases are going to start coming fast and furiously at this point. In addition to the other two big cases you mentioned, there's also the cases involving the ability of President Trump to fire whom he pleases. But the case you're talking about is a case called Landor versus Louisiana Department of Corrections. And essentially, what's at issue here? The court's being asked to decide whether certain prison officials can be held individually liable for allegedly violating an inmate's rights while that inmate was a prisoner. There's a law Congress passed called basically the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act that was supposed to provide a remedy to prisoners who have their rights violated. And so the court's being asked to decide a fairly technical issue of whether certain prison officials can be held liable when they're alleged to have violated an inmate's religious rights.
And before we let you go, Zach, any upcoming TV appearances we should all be aware of?
Stay tuned. And again, once they're out, you can find them on my X feed at TZ Smith. Our social media folks are telling us we need to push our X feeds. So how did I do? Did I push it enough during our segment today?
Man, you pushed it. You pushed it. That is Zach Smith, Senior Legal Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. He is on X on TZ Smith. And, of course, theheritage.org. Zach, thank you so much for your time, and we'll look for you on TV.
Excellent. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
Thank you. All right. It is 4:44. Tim and I are broadcasting live from Sugar Creek Golf Course out here in High Ridge. You can tell it's getting a little noisy. People are starting to show up. Come on out and enjoy a nice beverage, and you can maybe get a round of golf in.
Oh,
still,
easily.
Right?
Got a couple hours till dark.
All right. Okay. We've got coming up on Chris's Corner when Pride Month meets Family Month. I'll tell you all about that next on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Another hot one today with highs in the low to mid 90s under sunny skies and that heat index up over, in some cases, 100 degrees. So watch out for the heat, and then watch out overnight in some of our northern counties for a chance of showers and thunderstorms that could be quite strong. Then we have another hot, humid day coming up tomorrow with more storms anticipated and some strong on Thursday night. But boy, the heat will finally break on Friday. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kent Earhart.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Well, this is a great week to get a hold of Corel Roofing Company. Got a little stretch of dry weather for once between all these massive spring storms. Yeah, we're still technically in springtime. I think the official day of summer is right around the bend, June 21st or so. But we've still got a lot of nasty weather in the long-range forecast. So like I said, take advantage of these couple sunny days. And if you think you've had any damage at all, or if you just want someone to check out your roof, Corel Roofing Company is the company to call. Correll. That's Correll. CorrellRoofingCo.com is where you find them online. More than 20 years of experience in the roofing business. Curtis Correll has several decades under his belt already. He's in his third decade of making roofs great again here in the region. Yes, they cover the entire region, the entire St. Louis County region, the entire St. Charles County region, and beyond. Their service areas, their services, and how to contact them, easy to find at CorrellRoofingCo.com. This is a local, independently owned and family-owned roofing operation. This is not some fly-by-night operation. These aren't storm chasers. Curtis and his entire family who run Correll Roofing Company are not going anywhere. They have deep roots in the community, and they're going to be with you from the very beginning of the job. They'll be out. If you have like a big hole in your roof, they'll immediately tarp it, and then they'll start working with the insurance company to get that roof fixed as soon as possible. They also do gutters, and they also do siding. They can help out anywhere on your home regarding any damage that's been done. It doesn't matter. They'll get it back up to snuff, and you will absolutely love it. It'll be beautiful indeed. It'll be better than it was before. Check them out online, like I said, CorellRoofingCo.com. That's CorellRoofingCo.com.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli. We're sitting here with our great friend, Chris Cooper. Hi, Chris.
What's going on, Vic? How are you?
I hear you wrote another book. This one's an e-book. Is that right?
The Business Owner's Playbook for Financial Clarity. So it is a great book for entrepreneurs. It's a very short guide. Give people, business owners, the ability to understand key questions that are important, such as succession planning, legacy planning, getting the IRS out of our pockets, right? Because do you like paying taxes?
I do not.
I don't think anybody likes paying taxes, right? That just makes sense. And then always talking about protection. And then the other thing from a business owner perspective, what is the biggest asset a business owner has? Probably their business itself, right? We need to make sure we understand what the value of that business is as well.
So this new book, I'm sure, is incredibly expensive, right? How much?
No, it's a free resource.
Oh, it's free.
We provide guidance, we provide education because we want to make sure people feel educated and understanding because sometimes you don't know what questions to ask, and we need to make sure we help arm people with information to ask the right question.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The story behind the story. Remembering when you started driving or teaching your kids to drive?
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. Chris's Corner, brought to you by STL Windows and Doors, locally owned and operated in Earth City.
Chris.
And if you don't know, now you know.
And now, Chris's Corner.
When Pride Month meets Family Month. This June, while much of the country celebrates Pride Month, several Republican-led states are choosing to highlight something else as well, the traditional family. Tennessee, Indiana, and Alabama have proclaimed June as Nuclear Family Month, while Arkansas has declared June Fidelity Month, emphasizing faith, family, community, and country. The reaction from critics was immediate. They argue these observances are intended to counter Pride Month. In many ways, they're right, but that doesn't make them wrong. As a Christian, I believe the family is the most important institution in society. But before there was government, before there was corporations, before there were political parties, there was the family. Strong families create stable communities, and stable communities create a strong nation. For generations, Americans understood that mothers and fathers raising children together represented an ideal worth striving for. Not because every family achieves it, but because children generally benefit from stability, commitment, and strong parental involvement. Today, however, even expressing that belief is often treated as controversial. What's particularly noteworthy is that public opinion appears to be shifting. According to a Gallup poll released this week, support for some same-sex marriages among Republicans has fallen significantly. In 2022, 55% of Republicans supported same-sex marriage. Today, that number has dropped to 37%. That doesn't mean Americans are becoming less compassionate. It may mean that many are reevaluating broader cultural changes and asking whether we've become so focused on celebrating individual identity that we've neglected the institutions that hold society together. Christians should approach these discussions with grace and respect. Every person possesses inherent dignity and worth because every person is created in the image of God. But Christians should also have the freedom to advocate for biblical values without being labeled intolerant. The debate isn't about whether people deserve respect. They do. The debate is about what society chooses to honor, encourage, and celebrate. For many Americans, faith, marriage, fidelity, parenthood, and family remain worthy of celebration. Not because they exclude anyone, but because they are foundational to a healthy and flourishing society. Strong families build strong communities. Strong communities build a strong nation. And that's something worth celebrating, not just in June, but every month of the year. That is Chris's Corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chris, I never really look, I have nothing against people who want to celebrate Pride Month, but I always thought it was a weird observance to celebrate your sexual orientation.
Yeah, what you do in your bedroom is your business. Why do we have to celebrate it and have pride about it? I've never understood
when
that.
is I Love Hot Chicks Month? All right, I'm going to go there. Yeah, send all your misogynist, accusations to me. I said that, but and let's now be a little more serious and let's talk about Nuclear Family Month. That doesn't celebrate anybody's particular sexual preference, other than I guess you can say you don't have a nuclear family unless you have men and women reproducing, which is kind of the whole point of sexual relations between men and women, is to have children. Because if you don't have a family, if you end the family, you eventually stop ending people, right?
Yeah.
And you end civilization. And I know that's the ultimate goal, because the left ultimately, they know, Chris, they can't come out and say, we want human beings to stop populating the planet, but that's ultimately what they think. They don't like human beings. They think that we're carbon creatures and that we're just destroying the planet, Mother Earth, which is completely and utterly not true. And like I said yesterday, some of the best conservationists I know are actually conservatives. And so they have to invent other things to try to convince people not to have children and not to propagate the planet, to not go forth as God said and rule the earth, right? And so I think the nuclear family is a great thing to celebrate, because studies show, we may not see these studies anywhere on the networks anymore, right? Studies show that if you can have a nuclear family, that is the best unit to have. I know some people can't. I know some people have single moms or single dads. People have accidents. People have diseases. People die, and that's horrible. But if you can have the nuclear family, shouldn't we support and promote the nuclear family?
And what we're talking about is not theoretical. Just look at the African American family. Within the black community, you have 70% illegitimacy, and that has absolutely wrecked the African American family. Before the Great Society programs, our families were intact, even though there was discrimination, but the father was in the home, and you didn't see all the problems that you have now, like you see with these kids running wild and tearing up stores and stealing and all of that. All of that stems from the destruction of the nuclear family. This is not a theory. You could just look at the black family, and that is a display of what happens when the family is destroyed. You have females that are raising young men, and these young men, I believe, the theory that we talked about yesterday, that because they're raised by women, they become more emotionally than if they had a father in the household. And I think that contributes to the lack of impulse control that we see among these young men. Families, if you could, I mean, it's ideal to have a mother and a father in a household, but of course there is extenuating circumstances that don't allow that. But the ideal situation is to have two families. The ideal situation is to have a husband and a wife, or to get married before you procreate and have children, because that children will have a much better shot in life with two parents in the household.
And what you just said about what the Democratic Party did to black Americans is 1,000% true. I know it's not gauche, or it is gauche to talk about it. It's not mainstream to talk about it anymore. The media doesn't want to talk about these things. There have been studies and treatises and tomes written about the social engineering experiment that the Democratic Party did on black Americans after the 1950s, because they wanted to own them as a voting bloc. And they intentionally implemented certain federal laws and programs that ended up destroying the nuclear family in the inner cities and in black America. And there's a big difference when you look at the 40s and 50s, and then you look at what came later. And I hope that folks realize it's the Republican Party that wants to put that family unit back together. And we don't care what color you are or where you came from. We want everyone to succeed.
I will disagree with you slightly. I don't think that the Great Society programs, I don't believe that the Democrats intentionally wanted to create a permanent voting bloc by destroying the black family. I think that is what happened as a result of the Great Society programs. I think liberals, of course, have big hearts. They want to try to do the right thing. They thought that these policies would help the black family, but like so many liberal programs that have good intentions, the consequences of them, the results are terrible. And we've seen that here in the last 50 or 60 years, where we've had a complete turnaround from 70% of African-American households were two-family to now it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, I was referring more to the Margaret Sanger types.
Exactly.
You know, I wouldn't say all of them. We should never say all of anything.
Right.
But definitely the white liberal racists like Margaret Sanger were part of that problem and equation as well. It wasn't everybody, but some people had some nefarious motives.
Yeah, I think they had good intentions. I think they were trying to help black people who've been enslaved and discriminated, but the policy direction they went was
well,
not
now
the right
they can't
direction.
admit they were wrong, right?
Exactly.
They can't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, we got Speaker Stump Speech coming up.
Yes, the big ballot issues coming up in about 55 days.
And then we'll speak with the man. There he is messing around over by the monitor, Billy Crow. We'll talk to him at 5:23. We are broadcasting live at Sugar Creek Golf Course out here in I Ridge. Come out and see us. You're listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Connor Roofing, you can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a two-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
This year, America turns 250, and News Talk STL is celebrating our nation's semi-quincentennial all year long. News Talk STL, #1 for live and local Soros-free talk, with proud supporters of our 250th birthday celebration. Di Gregorio's Italian Market, AAA Motor Speedway, and American Family Insurance. 250 years strong, and we're just getting started. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Is your portfolio prepared for the biggest risks facing investors today? Hi, it's Tim Jones. High inflation and a rapidly changing economy may impact your investments. If you haven't made appropriate changes, your portfolio may not be positioned to address some of the biggest risks in today's economy. That means it's time to request your free portfolio review from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk STL 101.9. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create a portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free portfolio review, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company, Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump signed a $70 billion immigration enforcement package aimed at keeping Americans safe. Correspondent Laura Winters reports.
After months of debate and delays, President Trump signing the package, which will fund ICE agents and Border Patrol through the rest of his second term in office.
For more than 100 days, congressional Democrats tried to block all funding for the Department of Homeland Security in a reprehensible attempt to throw open the borders of the United States of America.
The president says the money will give the heroes of ICE and Border Patrol the support and resources they need to defend our borders, protect our homeland, and to keep America safe. Laura Winters reporting.
The U.S. military says it launched strikes on Iranian military sites Wednesday. In the Oval Office, President Trump says the U.S. will strike Iran again after a helicopter collision with an Iranian drone.
Well, we're going to be attacking them very hard.
You're resuming bombing?
Yeah, well, we are. Based on the helicopter, I guess we have the right to do that. You know, they shot down a very incredible, actually an incredible machine.
Tehran fired back at countries in the region. The escalating attacks threatened to derail efforts to end the war. The U.S. military now says it's begun another round of strikes against Iran. U.S. Central Command said in a social media post that the military is striking multiple targets in Iran. Rising gas prices pushed inflation to its highest level in 3 years last month, a headache for the Federal Reserve and a potential political challenge for the Trump administration as midterm elections near. It was a rough day on Wall Street as the Dow plunged 953 points, the Nasdaq dropping 509, with the S&P 500 lower by 119 points. More at townhall.com.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Another hot one today with highs in the low to mid 90s under sunny skies and that heat index up over, in some cases, 100 degrees. So watch out for the heat, and then watch out overnight in some of our northern counties for a chance of showers and thunderstorms that could be quite strong. Then we have another hot, humid day coming up tomorrow with more storms anticipated and some strong on Thursday night. But boy, the heat will finally break on Friday. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Bunny Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Bunny Radio every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeBunnyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Just the convenience on the phone. Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime.
Everywhere.
Anywhere. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now. They just cheat at any cost to win elections.
Nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
We have additional evidence of ActBlue detecting at least 22 significant fraud campaigns. 9 of those fraud campaigns had a foreign nexus. After receiving this information, we deposed and interviewed 5 former ActBlue employees. When deposed, ActBlue employees refused to answer a single question. Instead, they invoked the Fifth Amendment 146 times. We gave ActBlue employees an opportunity to answer our questions, but they refused. But now, Ms. Wallace-Jones, you have a real opportunity to explain how this occurred.
either a News Talk STL shirt on, or you can show us immediately that you have the News Talk STL app on your phone. We're going to give away a beautiful News Talk STL mug, and we have some passes so you can come back and play at the beautiful Sugar Creek Golf Course. So we've got giveaways here. Just swing by, show us your shirt, show us your app, and you will be one of the big winners.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna grab one of those myself. I've got
Dwayne won't notice.
I've got a News Talk STL hat on. That should count for something.
You and I both, yeah.
And the app. But speaking of that clip, yeah, the Democrats, another instance of them including foreign money into our elections. We've talked about it many times here, where some of these out-of-country billionaires are funding some of these initiative petitions here in Missouri. You know, they want the Republicans unilaterally disarm. You know, one of their things they always talk about is Citizens United, get rid of Citizens United. And what a lot of people don't know, that Citizens United basically is the counter to all of the union money. You know, they want to be able to make sure corporations can't give money to campaigns, but unions can give money to campaigns. How unfair is that? But just another instance of the Democrats being hypocritical, Tim. And speaking of big hearings on Capitol Hill, Bill Gates, Microsoft chairman, is testifying behind closed doors about his connection to the notorious Mr. Epstein. And I saw an article today where he was saying that he was divorced and there were some infidelity rumors about him and his divorce. But he said that the Epstein matter had nothing to do with his divorce. So wonder what will come out of that, if anything.
Lots of explosive hearings on Capitol Hill this week. The Southern Poverty Law Center was raked over the coals appropriately yesterday. Act Blue today. Good to see some really good oversight up on Capitol Hill. Now, later in the show, we're going to speak with Billy Crow, one of Jeff County's own. He is a county councilman in the 2nd District and the co-host with myself on Jeff Co. Patriot Radio every Sunday at noon. He's part of our weekend lineup. We have a ton of weekend programming with the Outdoors Show, the Right Mind Show, the Dr. Randy Tobler Show, Stand and Fight, and so many more. And Billy is part of one of those products. They do a lot of work throughout the week as well. They have a very active Facebook page, and Billy Crow is one of the most dialed-in guys down here in Jefferson County. We'll talk to him at 5:25. And then Chris has soccer and baseball news at 5:45.
Yeah, we'll give you the rundown of what's going on with the World Cup and the congressional baseball game happening tonight in the nation's capital.
It'll be very exciting to learn about all that and more. Yeah, it's pretty loud, and we got a big loud crowd here. Come down and join us. We have our live remote for the next hour. The first hour zipped by very quickly. The second hour will as well. And Representative David Castile, who was a big proponent of one of the things I'm going to talk about in the Speaker's stump speech. He's having a fundraiser here this evening. So it was great to see him here as well. All right, without further ado, let's get to the big stuff on the ballot. That is the subject of today's Speaker's stump speech.
Listen to me, listen to me.
I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius.
It's time for the Speaker's Stump Speech, sponsored by Hanson's Tree Service at hansonstree.com.
All right, in case you are enjoying your summer and don't want it ruined with any political activities, well, sorry, you came to the wrong place. And you're listening to us, so of course you want to be informed. We have some very important issues on the statewide ballot this year in Missouri, and many states do have some version of a ballot proposition process. Missouri's tends to be quite wonky and tends to be one that liberals and leftists and Democrats have definitely taken advantage of over the last many decades. And so that's one of the things I want to tell you about. So here we are. It is June the 10th, 2026. So we've got 20 days left in June. We've got 31 days in July. I'm not a math guy, but that's 51. And then we have 4 days until the big August primary. 55 days. 55 days and counting. Plenty of time for you to get educated on the two big ballot propositions that are on the ballot. Amendment number 4 and amendment number 5. Now, look, you might call me biased because I was part of the group that helped put these on the ballot. I was supportive of all the legislators that voted for these things. But you know what? These are things that I've always believed in, and I think many of you as well. So what I need you to do, because I'm likely preaching to the choir here, I know that News Talk STL listeners are generally right of center folks, probably more right than center, and that you are educated on political and public policy issues. And another thing, I'll bet you that our percentage of voters in News Talk STL Nation is likely much higher than the average or the median. I'll bet you that pretty much most of you, if not all of you, vote in every single election. It doesn't matter if it's April, it doesn't matter if it's August, doesn't matter if it's November. Unfortunately, we are in the minority, right? We celebrate when we get over 50% of voter participation. That is rare. It shouldn't be. We see it sometimes for the big presidential years. Sometimes we'll see it in the midterm. But generally, if we're over 30 to 40%, we're celebrating and shooting off fireworks. I wish that were not the case. It would be nice if we just took it for granted that 70, 80, 90% of the electorate would vote. So that's your number one mission. Remind everybody you know that coming up here in Missouri, if you are a Missouri citizen and a registered voter, that you have a duty, you have a responsibility to all the people that have died for these rights for us and signed their names on the dotted line, that Tuesday, August 4th is a big day. All right, that's job number one. Know the fact that an election is coming and it's 55 days away. Now, what's on your ballot? Well, depends on where you are in the state of Missouri. Many of you listen to us on the eastern seaboard side of the state, but with our app and with our website and with the modern age of streaming, I know that folks can listen to us all over the state of Missouri and even well beyond. So it really depends on where you are. If you're in some parts of the state, you're going to have some very vigorous primaries. Maybe a county executive race like here in Jefferson County and in St. Louis County and in St. Charles County. Maybe a state Senate race. I think we have 10 or 12 Republican senators, the most we've had in a long time, terming out. So those are all open seats. Most of them, if not all of them, have primaries. We have state rep races every 2 years. The poor House of Representatives, they're all up for re-election. So everybody's going to at least have a state representative race on their ballot. Those are all important races. Those are people that represent us in our representative republic. And those are the folks that either go to county councils or go to the state legislature to represent you and I and vote, hopefully, according to their best intentions and what's in the best interest of not only their districts, but in the state of Missouri as a whole. Finally, last but not least, there are two huge ballot propositions, as I mentioned, that are on that August 4th primary ballot. Amendment 4 to protect Missouri's Constitution, and Amendment 5 to eliminate the income tax, reduce property taxes, and provide, in my opinion, greater prosperity for all Missourians. Amendment 4 is something that the legislature has worked on for years. This was not kind of a fly by the seat of your pants, throw this on the ballot, see what happens. Initiative petitions have been used against, I would argue, the majority of the Missouri electorate. We elect a supermajority of Republicans to the House and the Senate, and we've been doing it for decades. We've been electing 6 of 8 congressional districts to the Republican side of the coin, and it may be 7 after this year if the Missouri First map holds. Both U.S. Senate seats are Republican. All the statewide offices are Republican. And county after county across Missouri has flipped from blue to red over the last 20 years. We are a ruby red Republican state. But for some reason, we have also been subjected to what I would argue and submit are extremely deceptive ballot propositions, heavily funded by extremely leftist public policy groups, special interest groups, dark money groups, and leftist billionaires from not only outside Missouri, but outside the United States of America, who have somehow convinced Missourians that they should vote for free health care, not explaining to them that that is massive Obamacare Medicaid expansion. Barely passed in 2016, but it did. And now, as Chris mentioned, the budget problems we're having, a lot of that is because of unfettered Medicaid expansion. And guess what, folks? This Medicaid expansion, it's not for the social safety net. It's not for the people who we already cover 100% of the way. It's to convince able-bodied, working-age Missourians that would otherwise have private health insurance to dump their private health insurance for whatever reason and get on the government dole. We have had massive recreational marijuana put into Missouri Constitution. Did anybody read the 47 pages? Really? There's a lot of pro-marijuana people that are upset about the recreational marijuana amendment being on our ballot because it basically created a special carve-out for big marijuana. Yes, there is such a thing. Just like in every industry, there's the bigs and the littles are getting squashed. wherever your position is on recreational marijuana. We have made Missouri a 100%, 1,000% abortion state and a transgender affirming care state, courtesy of our initiative petition process. And we dodged a bullet a few years ago on the redistricting battle and on many other items as well. So it's time to protect Missouri's Constitution. This is common sense initiative petition reform. It keeps the 50% plus one threshold. Amendment 4 does. It also requires a 51% plus one threshold in the 8 congressional districts. So St. Louis and Kansas City no longer can outvote the rest of the state. Shouldn't it have to be something that's uber popular to go into the Constitution? If you want to amend the statute books, that referendum process is still available. It'll still be at 50% plus one, but it'll simply be statutory, something that the legislature can address if it's wrong or not good for Missouri. But shoving all this stuff into what's supposed to be a very slim and thin and direct, succinct explanation of our constitutional rights. You know, our Constitution is now about 10 times the size of the federal Constitution, and nobody's been complaining about the U.S. Constitution these days that I have heard, except for the Democrats who want to throw it all out the window. Finally, Amendment 5, something that we've been working on the state also for about 15 years, eliminating our income tax. The income tax has been lowered over the last 12 years since it went into effect, the current reductions. And guess what? Our budget has ballooned. It's gone up. Most people would say we haven't cut enough. It's time to finally eliminate the income tax, move us to a more fair tax system like so many of other states around us are doing, encourage more Missourians to stay here instead of moving to lower income tax states, and most importantly, make Missouri prosperous again. 2 huge amendments. I'm happy to support both of them, work on both of them, work with so many great legislators that help get them passed, and hopefully we will make Missouri greater again with both of these. 4 and 5 on the ballot, along with everything else, this Tuesday, August the 4th. And that's the Speaker's stump speech for today.
You know, all of these amendments on the ballot, I believe, are must-pass amendments, but especially the petition reform amendment. As you said, Tim, I was going to note that the Missouri Constitution is larger than the U.S. Constitution. It's way too easy to pass these constitutional amendments. You have a minority of the population passing these things, and they're putting stuff into the Constitution that, one, the state can't afford, like the Medicare expansion, and they've made us an abortion zone state. And I think the majority of Americans, the majority of Missourians, don't want us to be a abortion on demand state.
Could not agree more. All right, it is 5:20 in the PM here in the Heartland. We're going to step aside briefly and then bring in our good buddy Billy Crow. And just a final reminder, swing by over the next hour or so. We're going to hang out for a while and see Representative David Castile after we wrap up. So we've got these beautiful News Talk STL mugs filled with all kinds of goodies, including passes for Sugar Creek Golf Course. Show us your News Talk STL shirt. Joey's showing them on the monitor. Show us your News Talk STL shirt or the News Talk STL app on your phone. We'll be happy to hand one off to you. We've got a lot of other giveaways, too. We got people with yard signs here for the elections. We've got T-shirts. And Joey may even give away some of this fancy equipment. Joey, you can't possibly be using all this stuff, can you? There's like cords and buttons and buzzers and stuff everywhere.
This is the only thing I'm good at. I'm a microphone plugger inner by trade, and that's all I do. If you take this away, I'm going to be living on the streets.
Let me ask you this. As I was watching the monitor while you were putting up the mug there, you ever considered being a hand model?
I've thought about it,
Really?
yeah. I bite my toenails and my fingernails every night to get them ready in case I'm needed.
And that's executive producer Joey V. We'll be joined by county councilman for the second district council seat next.
He's just out there.
He's Billy
the Crow
Crow.
Man.
I just gave him the longest title he's probably ever been given. I just kept saying district and council. He is the councilman. I'm just call him the councilman of Jefferson County. Everyone would be shaking in their timbers if that were true. Billy Crow joins Chris and I next on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, live on location at Sugar Creek Golf Course, 1019, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Found myself alone, surrounded by strangers I thought were my friends.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Another hot one today with highs in the low to mid 90s under sunny skies and that heat index up over, in some cases, 100 degrees. So watch out for the heat, and then watch out overnight in some of our northern counties for a chance of showers and thunderstorms that could be quite strong. Then we have another hot, humid day coming up tomorrow with more storms anticipated and some strong on Thursday night. But boy, the heat will finally break on Friday. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Free speech is alive and well in America right here.
It's about time somebody stood up for true American values.
What this country needs is some backbone.
Finally, a president who wants to make real change.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
A St. Louis jewelry tradition since 1961. Why would you go anywhere else but Newstedter's Fine Jewelers? Yeah, Newstedter's Fine Jewelers, located right in the heart of the region. I always say the county, but honestly, they're right in the heart of the region. Like, we're in Jefferson County. I think we're only about 20 minutes from Newstedter's, right up Interstate 141, basically. Newstedter's Fine Jewelers is at 2961 Daughtery Ferry Road, just 2 miles west of Interstate 270. And they're open 6 days a week. They're open Monday through Friday, and they have Saturday hours as well. They have everything at Newstedter's. Yes, they have diamonds. They have gemstones. They have pearls. They have pendants. They have master engravers who can make you things. They will refurbish your jewelry. They will create fine pieces for you, legacy items that you'll hand down throughout your family. And they do not have they don't have like specialty prices because they're just a small jewelry store. They're a small jewelry store that provides you everything the big boxes have, and they give you the Newstedter's difference. You're not going to get that at the big, giant, sterile big boxes where you're lucky if you ever see the same person twice. Newstedter's Fine Jewelers is a very cozy place. It's a very intimate place. It's a very family-friendly place. Diana Newstetter and her entire team there, second generation and I think third generation of Newstetters are there. They have everything the big box stores have. I would argue they have it at a better price, and you're definitely going to get much better service at Newstedter's Fine Jewelers. They've taken care of me, my family, my friends that I've sent in there. Everybody has such a great time speaking with the fine Newstetters at Newstedter's Fine Jewelers. I want you to check them out today. They got the lab-grown diamonds, and they've got the mine diamonds. And this time of year, with all the anniversary parties and the bar mitzvahs and the wedding celebrations and everything else we have, people need traditional and elegant stuff. They've got all that and more Newstedter's. I went in the other day and dumped a whole bag of watches on Diana and said, I need all these fixed. She said, no problem. They do that too. They do everything. And they have fantastic diamonds, which is why they named their website after them. Newstedter's Fine Jewelers at wowdiamonds.com. That's Newstedter's Fine Jewelers at wowdiamonds.com.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros and Exteriors, your all-in-one service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. Christine and I discovered Gutter Pros and Exteriors when we bought our home and inherited a gutter problem. And they've also repaired siding damage on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros team are also the best for repairing other exterior damage, including fascia, soffit, and all siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros and Exteriors can help your home or business right now at gutterpros.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, it's Susie Moore for Window World. Did you know that in just over the last 20 years, Window World of St. Louis has improved the look and thermal efficiency for over 80,000 customers in St. Louis? Plus, Window World windows come with a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And now, Window World is offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. Call them today at 800-GET-WINDOWS for a free in-home, no-pressure estimate. That's Window World at 800-GET-WINDOWS. They're the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Most people here in Festus, Missouri appear to oppose a multi-billion-dollar data center being built in their town, and many can't understand why the same council members who approved the project have the power to stop a recall effort aimed at removing them from office. But St. Louis area attorney Brad Young says it's not that simple.
You cannot simply allege that a person has committed misconduct. They just alleged misconduct or incompetence without saying how they are incompetent.
You know, when when I first met Billy Crow, he brought up an issue that years ago now that I think is emblematic of what's going on in this recent battle. We'll ask him about that and more. Welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. We're live on location at Sugar Creek Golf Course here at 101.9 94 News Talk STL. If you would like to see where we are, we've got our streaming. We got our streaming platforms all up and going. Joey knows how to take everything on the road.
He does.
This
He's
is
the man.
probably all powered by Elon Musk in some way. It's got to be.
Or a data center.
Or a data center. You know what? I bet we're using a data center as we speak. Because you know what a data center is? It's a place they keep computers that we put data and then retrieve it from. That's all they are.
You mean they're not surveilling us and dirting and poisoning our water?
Some people are starting to use that. That's a stupid thing to say. I'm going on the offensive in these people because a lot of times they're using uninformed language about what these are. But let's bring in one of the guys who probably would say he's unfortunately become an expert in this arena. He is Billy Crow. He is a county councilman for Jefferson County. He's the co-host of Jeffco Patriot Radio. He's my much more attractive sidekick. And he joins us once again here live on our airwaves.
How are we doing today, guys?
Excellent.
We're doing well. Billy, you are like everywhere all the time. You've got you're like becoming the media mogul of Jefferson County.
Yeah,
You've
I think someone called me the Scott Fawn of Eastern Missouri. And those are big shoes to fill.
Literally.
But yeah. But we're trying one county at a time here. You know, you talked about data centers and whether we had asked before we got on if I was tired of talking about them. And there's a piece where I am tired of talking about them. But there's this other piece where it really goes back to this core issue of property rights and the rights of business owners to do what they want to do with their property. And, you know, that's something you and I have talked about on countless occasions.
Before the data center thing,
Long
right? Billy,
before data centers.
when we started Jeffco Patriot, I said, Billy, what's the big issues in Jefferson County? He said, development.
That's right.
Or not to develop or not to develop. Do you think this is being used by certain people to promote that agenda, the not development agenda, and they're using the scary data center to kind of inflame folks down that road?
Well, I tell you what, there's two factions in Jefferson County in particular, and one larger than just Jefferson County nationwide, right? There's the faction of there are those that just don't want development. They don't want anything. They want it to be dirt roads and horse and buggies forever, but then they don't understand why they don't have services in the county, right? So there's that group that are definitely using this to foment this big thing, this big boogeyman to try to get people on their side. The other is Jefferson County is a very red county, yet the Democrats are just using this to try to get everybody incensed and excited on their side. And you know, there are for some that it's working, but these Democrats, when people go to the polls in November, I think a lot of people are gonna see and go, oh, well, this Democrat is against data centers, but they also still want to kill babies. So I can't actually get on board with that, right? And so I think eventually people are actually going to see the wolf in sheep's clothing here, and that's my hope anyway.
Councilman, when these data centers started to become prominent in the news about a year ago around the area when they wanted to build these developments, and we started hearing revelations about backroom deals and council members being involved in the development and everything. Do you think that poisoned the well in a lot of people's minds on these data centers, and then all of this other stuff about poisoning the water and all of that came later? Is this what poisoned the well? Was the backroom deals?
Well, I think it was the camel's nose under the tent, right? That allowed the nutty left, the Greenpeace freaks, to be able to say, oh, look what they're doing, and exploit that. Because let's be honest, I've had lots of conversations with my friends in Festus that are in government in Festus and not in government in Festus, and they weren't very happy with the way things rolled out. They feel like it could have been done better, and I agree with that, right? They could have been more proactive and communicated. So I definitely think that's still what started us down a very negative path to where we are today. That's why us on the county level, you know, we started looking at data center UDO. Nobody's come to the county with the hope of a data center yet, but we put good regulation in place to make sure if one comes that it's a good development, right? And to the point of that the lawyer that is on for the Wake Up Jeffco and the Crazy Dems that's trying to take on this data center and the Festus City Council people, he actually said in a meeting that the UDO ordinances that unincorporated Jefferson County put into effect are the best he's seen in the nation. And so I think everybody needs to calm down and take a look at like, hey, reality is, yes, developments can be bad or good depending on where they are and what they are. And we've put in a great roadmap for if they do come to Jefferson County, that they will be something that is good for the community and not a detriment.
Billy, shouldn't data centers as a development be treated no differently than any other development? They shouldn't receive better treatment, but they also shouldn't receive worse treatment. And shouldn't we also try to get our facts straight about what data centers actually do or not do? I have been receiving a flood of comments from folks that have been pointing out different industries and their water usage.
Right.
Car washes.
Oh, they're out of the control. And then you look at like a city like Arnold, there's a car wash going up around every corner every day.
And that water is not in a closed loop system.
That's right.
It gets used one time and then gets dumped right into the sewer drain with a bunch of chemicals.
That's right.
That go into our water system and hopefully get treated and cleaned out. But I've heard that car washes in the United States as an industry use 10 to 20 times more than all the current data centers combined. And then yesterday I saw a really funny stat that California almond farms use more water, much more water than all the data centers. So, Billy, we need to get our facts straight, and also don't give data centers breaks.
That's right.
Don't treat them better, but don't treat them worse, right?
Yeah, like I always tell my friends, don't bring facts to a gunfight, right? No, but seriously, yeah, the facts need to get out there so people can see the reality of it. But again, yeah, like I don't want to see one of these come to Jefferson County, unincorporated Jefferson County, and then us roll out the red carpet and give them all these tax breaks because they are a business. They should pay their fair share just like any other businesses. You know, one of the things about everybody getting worked up about this, the clip you played at the beginning was about the Festus City recall, Festus City Council voting down the recall. And it's interesting because you would think if you were in that room that the entire world is watching us. Well, right after that council meeting, my wife was covering the council meeting for the Jefferson Review, our digital publication, and we went out to Culver's afterwards, and there was about 60 people in there that had just come back from Little League practice, and you know what? They didn't care. The streets are safe, right? They don't have to lock their doors at night. They've got good schools. They don't care if a data center comes in because they're not worked up by this big boogeyman. They're just trying to live their lives. And so the majority of people actually really aren't super paying attention, aren't super locked in. And it is our job as council members, whether for Festus or unincorporated county, to make sure if a development comes, it's good for the community. And I think these can be developments that are great for the community.
You just segued perfectly into my next question. I was going to ask you, you know, there's an old saying that the squeaky wheel gets the most grease. There is a loud opposition to these data centers. But the average Jefferson County citizen, what do you think the breakdown is of people that don't support these, and just don't care or don't know?
I think probably 10 to 15% of people in Jefferson County have a strong opinion, and the rest of them either don't know or don't care. And I have this conversation all the time with constituents. I'll have a constituent call me about any number of reasons, and I'll be like, hey, this is going to be a weird question, but what do you think about data centers? And they're like, really? Billy, I don't know what they are. Like, I hear everybody being upset about them, but I don't really know what they are. When I explain everything to them, they're like, well, that sounds really good. I'd rather have that than another lead smelter. I'd rather have that than another concrete plant. I'd rather have that than another junkyard or anything like that around the corner. And even the people that are very anti-development that are like, oh no, all apartment complexes are the end of the world, the scourge of the earth, are like, oh, well, I'd rather have that than an apartment complex because that's bringing in tax dollars without overcrowding my streets. So.
Billy, let's talk about some more fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking to Billy Crow, Jefferson County Councilman for District 2, co-host of Jeffco Patriot Radio here on News Talk STL, Sundays at noon. Billy, what else is going on in Jefferson County? There's a lot of elections coming up.
Yes.
A lot of important items on the ballot for the August primary here in Jefferson County, in addition to the big constitutional amendments we've been talking about. A lot of events going on summertime Jefferson County. Pick your poison. What else you want to tell us about going on here in the county?
I tell you what, we talk a lot about the chaos that is this data center stuff. I want to talk about something positive. Arnold Police Officer Association and the Arnold City Police Department have this wonderful program. Today was their first time doing it this year. At Arnold City Park, they're off 6167. They have this thing called Popsicles at the Park. And the Arnold police officers, particularly the student resource officers, they go there at the park and they hang out with the kids from 10:30 to 11:30 or 10:30 to 1:30 every Wednesday in July and August, and hand out popsicles. Get to meet the kids, get to provide this community to the service to the community. It's a really cool time, especially because it's the student resource officers that are there. So these kids get to meet these officers here, then they'll go back to school in the fall and they will remember. And being able to build this good relationship where it's a positive interaction. You know, there's so much in the media these days, particularly in the left-leaning media like CNN or MSDNC and all those sorts of things, talking about the scourge of how terrible police are. But when you look at Jefferson County, you see that we are pro-police, and you see that our police appreciate that and come out and want to support us the same way we support them. And it's just a beautiful scene to see our police officers. And a shout-out to Kevin Smith, who runs the Police Officers Association, for thinking of this idea. It's pretty exciting. He does a great job with it.
Councilman, I've made it no secret that my wife are looking to move out to
That's
Jefferson
right.
County in the next few years.
Yes.
You have named me an honorary Jefferson
I
County
have.
citizen.
Yes, yes.
Be the salesperson for the county. Why would someone want to move out to Jefferson County instead of, say, in St. Charles County or some other surrounding county? And not to put those counties down.
No,
of course,
yeah.
but what does Jefferson County offer that other counties may not offer?
Well, I tell you what's amazing, right? I've lived in Jefferson County my whole life. My wife has, and like when I go out, you know, I was at Schnucks I walked into Schnucks the other day, and there was a police officer like pulling someone over, and she got out and said, "Hey, Billy," you know, like it feels like Mayberry, but that was
Right.
in a city of 20,000 people. And when you come there, like it's like, oh, well, that's the people that have lived there forever, right? No, you come there. We love to make you part of the community. We want you to get involved in the community. Our streets are safe because of Dave Marshak keeping the streets safe, and police chiefs like Police Chief Carroll and Arnold. And there's great economic opportunity there. There's a lot to be gained. And if I needed one reason alone, I would say Sam Page during COVID was the only real reason you need.
Right.
But there are so many other things, and you're going to have that small town feel, but still have everything you would want in a community without having to go forever to get to it.
Mm-hmm. Billy, what's coming up on Jeff County Patriot Radio this weekend?
Well, I won't be there. I've got to actually do some county council business. So you and Under Sheriff Tim Whitney are going to be hosting the show. We're going to have Dave Broach, who has served at the House of Reps before, but he's running again now in District 114, which is Ken Waller's former district.
So open seat.
Open seat. And we'll have State Rep Cecily Williams, who she is the state rep there, and she's running for re-election. She's done amazing things. I keep telling everyone she will be the first female governor of Missouri.
Wow.
And I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that happens. So
I've asked you about this before, but the transformation from Jefferson County to a blue to a red county has been absolutely incredible to me. Explain how that happened.
Well, we've always been a very conservative county, and it was a stronghold of blue dog Democrats that were pro-union, pro-God, and pro-gun, right? And we wanted small
That's a rare
government.
breed nowadays.
It is a rare breed nowadays. You know, I'm a union guy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a local 36 sheet metal worker, and I was raised up in a union household, but I believe in Jesus, and I believe killing babies is murder, right? And so that is, as the left has gone further to the left, we just stayed, our population just kind of stayed where they were when those guys are going crazy. Now, I will say, we are starting to go a little further to the right. We are starting to get more conservative when it comes to things like tax issues and stuff like that. But there is this little blue streak that kind of wants to control what their neighbor can do with their property.
Right.
And I'm doing my best to try to work that out.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm. Billy, finally, any big events? It seems like every time we do Jeffco Patriot Radio, we're talking about a ton of events. Jefferson County, famous for county fairs and festivals and all sorts of things. Off the top of your head, what's the big stuff that you're aware of that's coming down the pike, especially as we approach the Independence Day holiday?
Yeah, so we're going to have a bunch of, everybody's got some huge events. Hillsboro's going to have a huge event for the 4th of July, 250 4th of July. Arnold's got one. I don't have those dates off the top of my head. But if you really want to know the heart of Jefferson County, make sure you check Jefferson County Fairgrounds Facebook page for the dates. But the fairs, Jefferson County Fair is going to be coming. All the politicians that are going to be elected. If you're not there and you're a politician, you're not going to get elected because you need to be there and meet the people. And if you want to know what Jefferson County is all about, that is the place to get it done.
This is what I want to know. My wife and I worked on a Senate campaign here a couple of years ago, and Councilman, I went to my first rodeo.
Yeah,
2 rodeos. So any rodeos coming up?
Yeah, well, it'll be it'll be during the fair. The rodeo will be there. Also, they will probably have a demolition. Yeah, they'll have a demolition derby. We do it all, right? We do it all.
That is Billy Crow. He is the Jefferson County Councilman for District 2. And are we in your district right here?
No, we are in Brian Haskins' district. This is District 1. Mine's just across the street over there, unfortunately.
And that's going to be an open seat now, too, right?
It will. There's 2 Republicans running for it. John Parker, which we've had on, and Richard Stumpy Durham, which we've had on. So check out our podcast and our YouTube page. If you're interested in those candidates, those are on our backlog of candidates we've had on.
I've been seeing shirts, vote for Stumpy. I
love that. I love that because it looks like a vote for Pedro shirt, but it says vote for Stumpy. It's fantastic.
I love it indeed. All that and more is going on in Jefferson County. Billy, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It is great to be here in Jefferson County with Billy Crow and all of his many friends. Looks like they're throwing a party for Billy tonight. I don't know.
No, not me. David Castile, another one of my friends.
Or a fundraiser for David Castile. We are going to have one final jam-packed segment. Chris is going to tell us all about soccer and baseball and more when we return on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Swing by and see us at the Sugar Creek Golf Course here at 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Another hot one today with highs in the low to mid 90s under sunny skies and that heat index up over, in some cases, 100 degrees. So watch out for the heat, and then watch out overnight in some of our northern counties for a chance of showers and thunderstorms that could be quite strong. Then we have another hot, humid day coming up tomorrow with more storms anticipated and some strong on Thursday night. But boy, the heat will finally break on Friday. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kent Earhart.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
So we haven't heard anything about these scientists and doctors that are just disappearing and dying. Nobody cares anymore? Find out with Nate Lucas, who is the communications director for Eric Burleson, Thursday at 10:05.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
We all deal with daily aches and pains, don't we? You don't have to deal with them. You can get them taken care of. You can get them fixed. You can get them repaired. You can get rehabilitated at your one-stop shop known as Comprehensive Chiropractic and Sports Performance. They're online 24/7, so you can always check them out and see how to contact them at cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com. That's where you can find Comprehensive Chiropractic and Sports Performance, the top-rated chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. Not only do they have chiropractic care, and it's fantastic, advanced, modern-age chiropractic care, they also have the studio upstairs, the Health and Wellness Center, complete with Pilates and yoga classes and so much more. Great instructors, small classes, getting you back in shape, staying in shape, helping out with your flexibility. You know, the more flexible and mobile you are, generally, the better you're going to get through life. I can say that from personal experience. They've also got holistic. They got all kinds of holistic stuff as far as nutrition and diet. They give you the right supplements to put into your body, so you're not just putting junk in there. They've got personal trainers and so much more. Doctors Fader, Benton Gorman. I've been going to them for nearly 2 decades. I've had a variety of things from, tendonitis in the elbow, gone. I'd skipped a few weeks because I was on the travel trail. Man, I could really feel it. And I noticed that when I woke up today, I was like, I feel so much better because I went to Comprehensive Chiropractic a few days ago. And Dr. Gorman, he just got me back. He just got everything adjusted back into sync. My daughters have gone there because they're athletes. I've referred a lot of friends there. Everyone always so happy with all the great care they have at Comprehensive Chiropractic. They're at cchiropractic.com, cchiropractic.com for all your comprehensive healthcare needs.
Oh, Hank, what a wonderful spider web you have built for us. I love this fabulous space we have right here in the corner of the kitchen.
Thanks, Charlotte. I think I'll build us a vacation web in the coat closet. Oh, no. It's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the move.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Plattner is a hero, and I'll tell you why. He's done a tremendous service. He's slayed 2 big movements. The You're a Nazi movement. By being a Nazi and being accepted by the left, you can't call anybody a Nazi anymore. What about the Me Too movement? Well, by not believing all women, that goes out the window because he got the most strident adherents of those causes to accept him, revealing that whole scene was theatrics because, I mean, he's the most toxic male since Jeffrey Dahmer took up cooking.
547 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. We are live at the Sugar Creek Golf Course in High Ridge. Come on out. We've only got about 12 minutes left on the show, but there's going to be a fundraiser, Tim, after our show here at the golf course for Representative David Castile. Great man, great candidate. Come on out and support him and come out and have a beer with us. Tim and I will hang around here for a couple hours after the show.
We will indeed. Big crowd here to see us, and I know to support the event later tonight and to support Sugar Creek Golf Course. Dwayne Eoff has been, he and his wonderful wife Christine have been supporters of News Talk STL since almost the very beginning, and they have really been integral parts of the family. It was Dwayne's idea to start Jeffco Patriot Radio and St. Charles Patriot Radio, so he's been a bit of a producer of the station as well and helped us spread our wings and go near and far. Great to see people, a lot of candidates here tonight, a lot of people running for office, a lot of politicos, a lot of people involved in Jeff County scene. Come out and visit us. You're welcome no matter where you are from here in the region.
Speaking of Greg Gutfeld, I don't watch his show too often, Tim, but I'm usually in the bed. But I did catch a little bit of his opening monologue yesterday, and he was talking about a T-shirt that Senator Duckworth of Illinois had on. Did you see that? Where it says, she wore a T-shirt that says, "You can pee next to me." I guess
yes.
And then Greg Gutfeld.
For Pride Month.
For Pride Month. And then Greg Gutfeld came back with Don Lemon in a mock-up T-shirt saying, "You can pee on me."
and there's a joke there.
Yes, I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, Greg.
Look it up, folks. Look it up.
Good.
Yeah, it's pretty horrible.
Good thing you're on a late-night cable and don't have to worry about that.
Indeed.
All right. It is tonight, Tim, the Congressional Baseball game. And we know our own Eric Schmidt plays in that game, along with Congressman Burleson. Doesn't he play on the baseball game as well?
Yeah, two guys from Missouri.
And Congressman Schmidt played baseball for formerly Northeast Missouri, Truman State. He got a couple of hits last time, did really well out in the field. So I'll be curious to see the highlights of how well Senator Schmidt does tonight. The Democrats have a lot to prove, Tim. As I said earlier, they are on a 5-year losing streak to the Republicans. So looks like Republicans have had better athletes here the last few years.
Yeah, I attended the congressional baseball game last year for the first time. I had never gone before. We actually were up there for an Americans for Tax Reform event with Grover Norquist, so ATR took us all to the game. It was really cool watching a bunch of people play in Nats Park.
Yeah.
And Nats Park is really nice.
I've been there.
Isn't it nice? It's down in that area. It used to be a horrible industrial zone. They cleaned it all up. They put in all kinds of really neat restaurants and bars and right there on the water, really pleasant evening. And it was really cool seeing two of Missouri's finest congressmen, Eric Schmidt in the U.S. Senate and Eric Burleson, the two Erics, take to the field and seeing their names on the back of their jerseys. And Eric Schmidt, I think Eric Burleson had a hit last year, and Eric Schmidt had, I think, a big double and was a great fielder as well. So, the Republicans pretty much gave it to the Democrats last year, so we'll see if that streak continues.
For some reason, people are not buying tickets for the World Cup, Tim.
Oh.
Almost 180,000 tickets for the Men's Soccer World Cup group games are still available.
Wow.
Prices are starting to come down. We know the old economics demand, and there's no demand, so the price is coming in. There are about 4,000 tickets still available for the main tournament host opener. Despite discounts, the median price for a ticket is $800. So it's not. Yeah, that's bad. I was going to say that's not too bad, but it's the World Cup. But
it's not as bad as it has been, right? And I know a lot of, I know a lot of soccer fans that were really bummed when they heard the original prices for these tickets.
Yeah.
So at least they've come down somewhat. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity for a lot of people. So I'm not a big soccer guy, but I have a lot of friends and family that are. And so for the folks who want to be able to go to the game, maybe this might be some good news for them.
I'm just curious. Is it, America is baseball and football and basketball. That's our sports. A lot of fans are going to be coming in from around the world, of course. But I'm just wondering, is it the ticket prices being so high? Is that the reason why people aren't buying them, or there's just not that much interest in soccer here in the United States, even though it's the World Cup?
I think it's the whole package, right? Not only is the tickets, but then the travel and the hotel rooms and all that. So it'll be interesting, won't it, to watch the venues and see how full they are or not. I hope it's the previous.
Especially in Kansas City.
Yes.
Missouri is hosting a game, so I hope they get a lot of visitors there, and they make a little money for Kansas City and kind of put Missouri on the map to the world, that we're not a bunch of hayseeds in the middle of the country.
Indeed.
We've talked a lot about Kalshi, that is prediction market. A lot of fraud has been happening within the prediction market, insider trading. Well, Tim, Kalshi is planning to require that participants in some prediction markets disclose the identity of their employers. That is a much-needed reform, I think, because there's just way too much insider trading. If I work for a politician or a campaign and I know a particular poll is coming out, I can make a bet on the market, say it's going to be this or that, and make a quick buck. So I think this is much-needed reform, and it's kind of one of these reforms that, you should have done this from the get-go. You should disclose your employer so you can't kind of infect cheat.
Yeah, I'm still amazed that something that's pretty much betting has somehow called itself something different. So
that's all it is basically betting.
They're not under the betting regulations. Like, Chris, we could set up a casino, I guess, tomorrow and call it Tim and Chris's Playhouse, and then we don't have to be under the betting, gambling. I'm trying to figure out how these things are in existence.
Or maybe we can come up with some slot machines and put them in gas stations and say it's not gambling. It's a game of chance,
game of fun, or a game of whatever it might be.
Exactly.
I think it's amazing that they've shut down the video lottery terminals in Missouri, but the Kalshi prediction markets, which seem to be a bigger deal, are still alive and kicking and going strong. I just find it odd.
Exactly. And like I said, it's gambling and it's insider trading at the same time. So there needs to be some type of regulation on that. I'm sure Kalshi's trying to self-regulate, but I'm sure, Congress will get involved with this soon. Tim, 2/3 of respondents to a Reuters Ipsos poll who belong to a political party said they sometimes vote for a candidate they don't like in order to keep the opposition party from winning. More than 3/4 of respondents say they often have to pick the lesser of two evils when voting, including 83% of Republicans and 78% of Democrats. I got to tell you, I don't really see any really news in that. That's been going on forever. You got two candidates. I have a particular party that I like. I'm going to choose the lesser of two evils in my mind, especially in a primary.
It's called the hold your nose vote, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have a situation where, for example, let's say there's a heated primary and your candidate doesn't make it through the primary, but you really don't like the person on the other side of the coin. And so you go ahead and vote for the Republican that maybe you weren't supporting initially, but the Democrat's much worse. So it's a hold your nose vote, and that's what you do because you really know the Democrat will be worse. And so you're voting against somebody more than voting for your somebody. I agree with you. It's not really breaking news, is it?
No. And, Tim, I think the final nails in the coffin are beginning to be nailed in for the Live Golf Network. Of course,
it's still on?
That's the Saudi League. According to this report, they are laying the groundwork, quote unquote, for a U.S. bankruptcy. So I would think as much money, and even though it's not making any money and it didn't lead up to its hype, I would think they would just close it down. Why would they need to file for bankruptcy when Saudis are billionaires times 10? It's weird they're filing bankruptcy.
The whole thing's weird. Usually, like you said, you go through bankruptcy, so you're not required to make your creditors whole. You usually get out of it by paying cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
But once again, we are dealing with oil moguls here. Chris, wouldn't it be like you said, instead of paying a bunch of money to bankruptcy lawyers and going through the bankruptcy, wouldn't you just pay the bills, shut it down, and say, you know what, it was good while it lasted. We tried. We're all just going to go back to the PGA.
Or are they just wanting to stiff creditors?
Maybe that's part of it. That's generally why you do bankruptcy.
Because they have spent an enormous amount of money on this, especially paying these golfers. I'm sure they paid a lot of money.
Tens of millions of dollars.
And I'm sure they paid a lot of money to companies to promote this and all of the other ancillary things you need to support this. And Saudis, I think, are looking to just stiff stiff the people that are left.
Looks like we are in the last days of Live, huh?
Exactly. Yeah,
As we approach the U.S. Open next week in
yeah.
Shinnecock Hills in New York. Yes.
And then, of course, around July 4th is Roland Garros, the French Open.
Yes.
I don't know how those people play on clay like that, watching them slide around. It seems like that would be the hardest thing in the world to do.
Who decided that we should play tennis on clay?
It's like playing on ice or something.
It's just like the French, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. We're closing up the show here, but Tim and I are still going to stick around. We're at Sugar Creek Golf Course out in High Ridge. Here after the show, a fundraiser for State Rep David Steele. So come on out. You've been listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk USA. Up next, Larry Connors USA, the story behind the story, learning to drive. Drive safe and have a great evening.
1 in 4 women will have an abortion before the age of 45 in this country. That's the tragedy we must work to stop. Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show here, and that is why Reach Reproductive Health is here, to empower parents to save the lives of innocent children and to see these families come to Christ. And you can be a part of saving and changing lives. So pray and visit outreachforlife.org to learn more, volunteer, and donate. That's outreachforlife.org.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. Again.